A surprising game low-key hit the eShop last week. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. The Apple Arcade exclusive is now coming to console and PC. Currently a timed exclusive for Nintendo Switch, the roguelike beat-em-up combines these two genres beautifully while mixing in the Ninja Turtles. As someone who doesn't play many roguelikes, I love what Super Evil Megacorp cooked up here.
This game has been locked behind Apple Arcade for over a year now. Now that it's on Nintendo Switch, is this game worth $30? Let's talk about it.
I wanted to check out Splintered Fate last December actually. I had an Apple Arcade trial for Sonic Dream Team, but this game completely slipped my mind. When it was featured on the Indie World Showcase, it appeared on my radar again. Coming to consoles for the first time, I was pretty excited. Battle against the Foot Clan, Mousers, Sewer Rats, and Punk Frogs in a mission to save Master Splinter. As you progress through the story, more roguelike elements will be introduced seemingly out of nowhere thanks to these portals. The overall narrative is basic to get the turtles into action. They feel very much at home with recent incarnations of themselves, nothing groundbreaking or reinventing the wheel. It's always fun to see new versions of the turtles, even if they are similar to previous ones. Lore and story elements are subtly dropped through dialogue, so be sure to listen in carefully if you wish to learn more. The portals and roguelike elements fuse their way into the story, which is quite funny at times. Like when the turtles are defeated, they believe it's Master Splinter saving them and just shooting them through a portal. It's not out of the ordinary for walking and talking Ninja Turtles to encounter mysterious portals and other strange things happening in the game. So I didn't mind how they blended it all together. TMNT Splintered Fate mixes beat-em-up action with roguelike mechanics. You will never finish this game on your first attempt and have to continuously play through runs to collect more currency to grow your Ninja Turtles. You need to defeat all the enemies in a room before advancing to the next stage. You have your basic attacks alongside a tool, special ability, and a dash. The tool is like your sub-weapon. It helps you clear a room of enemies but won't insta-kill them. That would be the special ability, dealing a ton of damage in a single shot. The dash negates any damage headed your way and repositions yourself. The tools, special abilities, and passive abilities called inspirations are unique for each turtle. Other turtles can learn each other's abilities if you find them during the run. Just like the personalities in the story, how each turtle functions in-game is what you would expect. Donnie is the long-range attacker while Raph likes to get up close to deal damage. I personally gravitated towards Leonardo at first because he's my favorite turtle since I was a kid, but quickly moved to Raph and Mikey because of their close-range combat offering a ton of damage. Inspiration is a type of turtle power upgrade to find during your run. The main types are Flame, Water, Ooze, Utrom, Ninja, and Astral. Flame and Water are pretty self-explanatory. Ooze is like poison, where enemies affected by Ooze will have a tick damage going. Utrom does lightning damage to enemies. Ninja is all about shurikens and giving the turtles more dashes. Lastly, Astral are subtle upgrades like a damage boost depending on max HP, or granting a shield for a short duration. I personally stuck with Ninja because watching all the shurikens fly everywhere was satisfying to see. Leonardo is perfect for this build. Ooze is pretty good too, as you can wipe out groups of enemies instantly. After clearing a room of enemies, you get to choose an upgrade. They're randomized and can be stat bonuses, elemental abilities, or currency. All stat upgrades and abilities only last during the run. Once you return back to the lair, you have to collect the upgrades and abilities once again. You can unlock permanent upgrades by using the Dragon Coins, the main currency for Splintered Fate. It can be as simple as increasing your health or increasing your damage. Some of these upgrades might need a secondary item, which are usually found through boss fights. The other currency is Dream Coins. They also unlock permanent upgrades, but are more directed at how much control you have in the run, such as increasing your chances at finding a specific upgrade, or giving you an extra dice roll to reroll items at the chairman's shop. Roguelites always have a certain amount of randomness, but the Dream Coins allow you to control that randomness a little bit. The last type of currency is scrap, which can be exchanged with the chairman. He's the shop room that you'll find during your run. The options are randomized, but you will usually have a turtle power, health upgrade, currency, or a temporary upgrade. Whatever scrap you get, try to use it as soon as possible because you only keep the scrap during the run. Pizza drops, which are iconic in TMNT beat-em-up games, are very infrequent here because this is a roguelite. They want you to live with your mistakes if you take too much damage. So, if you have scrap while visiting the chairman, use it, or save it for a bigger reward later down the road. At the end of each major area, there's a boss fight. From Leatherhead to Bebop and Rocksteady, all the fan favorite villains are here to stop your run. They're definitely going to eat away at your health bar, so try your best to dodge incoming attacks. It feels very satisfying to take them all down, with each boss fight getting progressively harder. Even the mini bosses are tough opponents as well. After you finish your first run, you are only 1/8 there to the true ending. Master Splinter still needs your help, which means you have to defeat Shredder 7 more times to truly be done with the game. For context, it took me about 10 hours to finish the game once, and the second run is still kicking my butt. I haven't even finished it yet. New portals open that are called Portal of Power. These add new conditions to the run, but give you additional rewards in return, sort of like a double-edged sword situation. I really wanted to unlock the true ending, but for 7 more runs, I think I need about 50 more hours to get everything done. I mean, Leatherhead was kicking my butt on this second run because of the amount of extra enemies on screen. Even if you never touch the new portals, I can only imagine each consecutive run getting much harder and harder. I also forgot to mention multiplayer because this is now on the Nintendo Switch, not Apple Arcade. I'm not sure if the Apple Arcade version had multiplayer at all, but on the Switch, you can have actual co-op, couch co-op multiplayer, or you could do it online as well, which I didn't test out. But from what I could tell with the co-op experience, it's pretty good. They obviously amp up all of the enemies to sort of beat them up and make them harder for both of you guys to take them all out. And I believe it also goes up to 4 players, which is pretty cool. So if you have a full household that wants to play TMNT Splintered Fate together, you guys can. And everyone doesn't necessarily share the same currency as far as I could tell. So, you know, collect with what you can, have fun with it, and hopefully you guys could finish a run all together. Playing through Splintered Fate was a ton of fun. The different builds you can make alongside 4 different turtles allows combinations of abilities and powers feel endless. There's obviously an optimal strategy like the ninja build by having a bunch of shurikens fly on screen, but I've seen other players gravitate to water or fire abilities too. It all depends on your playstyle, and the game really accommodates for that. The idea of having to replay levels over and over again might be dumb for some players, but I personally really got into it. With each consecutive run, you're only going to get stronger and stronger. And if you know what upgrades to get or abilities you want, it'll make defeating Shredder that much faster. I would first try to find the turtle you like to play the most and then go from there. Whatever upgrades appear on screen, take a moment and read what they do because there's a ton of stuff to keep track of, especially with the turtle power upgrades. Make sure all your upgrades synergize with each other because it'll make choosing upgrades later on that much easier. The performance on the Nintendo Switch is about what you would expect. It's a consistent 30 frames per second with choppiness and slowing down occurring when there's too much on screen. This especially happens during the second run where boss fights just have so many enemies appear on screen and just so many projectiles, it gets a little overwhelming. Across the 14 hours that I played, the game crashed on me about 3 times. They happened when I opened menus too fast, and I guess the game just killed itself. Thankfully, the autosave in Splintered Fate is pretty good. Speaking of menus, at times when pressing L or R to open the menus, it doesn't respond on first command, like I have to press it a few times to actually open it. The game prompts you to use the X and A buttons for the special ability and tool. However, I learned by pressing the L and R triggers, you can actually activate these same abilities, which makes the chaotic moments feel more comfortable. I'm already mashing the Y button for basic attacks and hitting B to dodge incoming attacks. It gets messy when I have to also reach for the X and A buttons to do additional damage. One minor thing I notice is when you get an upgrade, the text floats to your character portrait on the top left, and the text is always cut off, which kind of bothers me. The voice acting is fantastic and really brings these PNGs to life. I mean, seriously, you have Yuri Lowenthal as Michelangelo and Roger Craig Smith as Raphael, Spider-Man and Sonic as Ninja Turtles. Like, that's pretty dope. The rest of the cast nails their roles too, from Casey Jones to April O'Neil to good old Shredder and Karai. I really love the voice direction these characters were given. The developers didn't have to make every text box contain voice acting, but it does. It made me want to watch and listen in on the lore drops and story progression. The Turtles and NPC characters do run out of unique lines to say, so that can get tiring. I know I called them PNGs, but the art style nails the comic book look. It blends the 2003 Turtles and the 2012 Turtles, kind of. 2003 being my favorite, by the way. For an indie game on the Nintendo Switch, the performance is passable.
If you like me and you don't play roguelikes that often, I would say give Splintered Fate a shot, especially if you love the Ninja Turtles. The writing and story does a fantastic job fleshing out this version of the characters. Replaying the same levels over and over again, but trying new builds with different turtles never got boring. The performance isn't the best, but this is an indie game running on the Nintendo Switch. If it was running on the PS5, that would be a different story. But the game is coming to Steam later this year, which is perfect for anyone who owns a Steam Deck and will hopefully fix the frame rate issues and bug crashes. It took me over 10 hours to finish the game once, and it appears that some players finished it within half that time. But if you are a completionist and would love to see the true ending, you're definitely going to get your $30 worth here. Even if you are just trying to finish the game once, I still believe the game is worth the price tag. It has really solid mechanics and a gameplay loop that can get addicting after a few runs. Even though this game is called Bootleg Hades, I had a pleasant time checking out TMNT Splintered Fate. And yeah, that is my review. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have not already, you can subscribe. I put new videos up on Saturdays. You can follow me on social media at TV Sonic Gaming. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I pretty much put up just about future videos on there whenever I can. And you could check out my podcast called the Travis and Damien Podcast. We talk about games, movies, and anime every other week. And yeah, that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching this video once again, and I'll see you guys next time with more videos.